Hi everyone, my name is Thalia and I'll be talking about the last episode of Dead Parade, and honestly I don't know where to start because this episode was so good, but on the downside kind of we still have an open ending and some questions to be answered, and Jinty didn't do too much and Oculus didn't do too much either, and I thought more would happen with them. But this episode was all about Chiyuki and her judgment and Dekim, and it was just very lovely. There were just so many feels, and I almost cried, like all the music and all that stuff and what was happening. It was just so emotional and I really enjoyed it. This was a good choice for our last episode, and I'm just hoping for a second season since, you know, it's a kind of an open ending. There are some questions that are answered, but I'm still I would love to see a second season. But it's Madhouse and we're not too sure about that since they're not really known for that. So we can only hope, I guess. So yeah, like I said, this episode was awesome. I liked the whole judgment of Chiyuki and how it was done and how Dekim became like emotional. It was kind of a shock. I didn't see this coming for Dekim. Like, I knew inside he kind of had some emotions, but he was just like struggling to show them. And when Chiyuki made the decision to not push that button so she would not come back to life, which was, you know, a lie, but she made the good decision, and you know, Dekim just felt so bad for putting her through this, and he had this feeling of like sorrow and all that, and it was just so emotional. And just to see him cry and Chiyuki being in shock as well, like, oh wow, like he really feels bad for it, but he has to do it because he's an Arbeiter and he has to judge me. So it was just so emotional, and so, you know, on the other side it was really enjoyable to watch as well. So exciting, so intense, and you know, because of that I think Dead Parade is my favorite of the season. It just, for so many episodes, it has touched me in all different ways, and it was just, all the stories were also lovely, and you know, the whole ride that we had with Chiyuki, it was just fun to actually know her and get to know her and see how she acted, how she would judge, and how she changed Dekim, and just like Queen Dekim on its own with like Nona and all that stuff. They kind of realized that, you know, emotions are good. Speaking of Nona though, I did tell you like in the last episode that I was afraid that Oculus would actually read her mind and all that, and I was already thinking like, oh, maybe they will fight, but you know, Nona actually dodged that attack from Oculus, which was badass. And I like how Nona was in this episode as well. She just kept believing, and she was like, you know, fuck Oculus, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And I like it that an Arbeiter has emotions and all that. But then we have Oculus, who is like, you know, this is way too dangerous. Dekim is gonna suffer more and more because of this. And I like how Nona responded with like, well, to suffer means that you're living, right? We still have that whole kind of riddle to solve, who Oculus is and why he is so against this and all that. So I'm kind of still wondering who he is, and that's also part why I want a second season, because I want to know more about Oculus. And like I said, I really thought he would do something in this episode to prevent Dekim to judge Chiyuki. I thought he would actually do something to Dekim to not be an Arbeiter anymore or something, or at least do something to Nona, but all he did was actually just kind of talk to her and tell her that what she is doing is wrong, and she just doesn't care. She just keeps doing whatever she wants. So at the end we know that, you know, Oculus is still keeping an eye on her, but he's not really doing something about it, not that we know of. So yeah, we have that whole thing. Also, we had Jinty in this episode for a really small part at the end, and I was already wondering as well, like, would Jinty do something? Maybe he works with Oculus or something, but apparently that's not true. What I do want to mention is we saw Jinty talking to that other guy, and, you know, it seemed like he was chill and he was calm about everything, and we saw him like making a doll of Mayu. And I was quite surprised about that. I was like, that's proof that he actually cared about Mayu in a way. Otherwise he probably wouldn't have kept her a bit longer there as usual. So you know, that shows to me that Juntae is a good guy and he did care, and you know, I thought that was very lovely to see. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought of this last episode. I just thought it was beautiful, and how Daekim and her Chiyuki were saying goodbye was also like so emotional. And I liked how Daekim would have to like smile, and he tried so hard, but it looked so weird and kind of pervy. It was funny. They still managed to put some comedy in this episode, which I like. So yeah, and oh, he also made like a doll or like a puppet out of, well, not out of, but of Chiyuki, and it's like next to the bar, and I thought that was pretty sweet as well. So yeah, anyways, let me know what you think of this episode and the series on its own, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.